Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited, as always, to be here to discuss a very interesting topic with you guys that I think you are going to find really, really helpful. And this is particularly for those people who are in the job market, going for interviews, and I am going to provide you with some great questions, 5 specifically, questions that you can ask an interviewer when they ask you that inevitable question. So, do you have any questions for us? That is a phenomenal and fantastic opportunity. And if an interviewer does not ask you if you have any questions for them, I highly suggest that you request to ask a question, because this is a two-way conversation. It's not just you having questions fired at you. You also need to get clarity on certain things, ask some questions about the environment that you're going to be working in. So I think that this is a critical, absolutely critical part of any conversation that you are going to be having in the interview process. So I'm going to take you through 5 great questions that you can ask an interviewer. Obviously, you don't have to ask all 5. You can pick 2 questions out of the 5 that you think would be, helpful in terms of your decision making. You don't want to now start having your own interview process with the interviewer. But I am going to share with you these 5 questions that I think will really, really, really be impactful, great questions that will also impress the interviewer that, okay, you're not just here because you saw a certain figure on the job spec or you just are desperate to leave your current employer. You are also doing an evaluation of the role to make sure that it is fit for purpose for you. So they also need to kind of be able to put their best foot forward and answer these questions. So if you're an employer and you are going to interview someone, you also need to be prepared to answer a few of these questions going forward. So before we jump into it, those 5 questions, thank you again for supporting my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend who you know is going on a job interview, or, save it for yourself for next time. I really, really appreciate the support, okay? Now, let's jump straight into it. So what is the first question? Question number 1, how would you describe the compliance culture of this organization? And I feel like this is a critical and important question for you to ask, because you want to know what type of environment you're walking into. Is this one that has a mature compliance culture? People understand compliance risk, they appreciate it, they're willing to engage and work with the compliance officer? Or is it one of those high-risk boys club kind of situation where certain individuals are untouchable regardless of what they do, don't even bother, no one expects them to do training, that kind of difficult, kind of toxic environment? Is that what you're going to walk into? And of course, the precursor to all of this is you should not expect someone who is an interviewer to badmouth, bash their organization, and that's not what you're after. Here, you are going to have to apply your skills in reading between the lines. So if they are confident and comfortable with telling you how great an organization it is and how mature the compliance environment is, you will see the authenticity of that answer in their response. But if they're waffling and kind of unclear and going from there, and we're kind of growing and it's sort of, but we have issues, and it's going to be different. There's going to be young organizations and there's going to be really mature organizations who've been existing for 50, 60, 80 years, whatever the case is. So your expectations around the maturity of the culture should also be led by how mature the organization is itself. So, you will listen to the answer, you will read between the lines, and you will get a clear sense of, okay, immature, okay, mature, okay, there's going to be work to be done here, and you'll be able to tell for yourself if that is something that you are up for. Okay, so great question to ask about the compliance culture of the organization. Next one, if you are in an interview with the actual hiring manager, ask them about their leadership style. And why this is important is that we all thrive under different management styles. Some people want a manager who is hands-off and not going to be micromanaging them, and they're happy to only talk to them once a quarter. And some people really need someone who's going to hold their hand and guide them through the role and be able to have an open door policy. And if I've got a question, I need to be able to walk into your office, or in this virtual space, I need to be able to jump on a quick Zoom or pick up a call and get your guidance. So the type of management style that you work best in. So ask them what their leadership style is and get a clear understanding of that. It might be the best thing you've ever heard, and for sure this is the type of environment you want to be in and the leadership that you want to be under. Or it's very much, okay, this is not what I'm used to, but I'm willing to give it a shot and try something new. Again, whatever the case may be, whatever the manager or interviewer says about their leadership style, you will be able to know if that's something that you can work under or if it's going to be an absolute disaster for you. So very important for you to ask and understand their leadership style. And people do like to share their information and talk about how they like to work and lead. So ask the question and listen carefully to the answer. Okay. Question number 3, what would you describe as the dynamic and working relationship between the existing compliance team? So if you're working into a compliance function that is already in existence, there's a couple of people in the room, you want to know what type of work situation you are working into and going to have to work with. Is it a team that is good at collaboration? They help each other, they share information and knowledge so that everybody can do the best that they can do? Or is it a team where it's every man for himself? I'm not sharing my information. I keep my cards close to my chest. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. Obviously, these are two extremes that I'm describing. Or is it a happy medium of different colleagues working together with ups and downs and such? So asking that question will give you a sense of the type of team that you're going to be working with, and also see with your own working style. Are you a collaborator? Are you a cards close to your chest type of person? I don't want to work with the team kind of thing. So you need to walk in there, and asking that question will allow you to walk in there and have a sense of, okay, this is what I'm working into and how I'm going to be able to build these type of relationships to be effective in my specific role. So try your best to ask this question to understand the team dynamic if you are walking into an existing team. Sometimes you're going to be the only person who's working in the role. So maybe you can then ask, instead of what is the team dynamic, because you're a one-man band, you can ask a great question, which is really about what is the nature of the reporting line then? Who am I going to be reporting to directly? Is it a dual reporting line, a single reporting line? And again, I'm assuming that this information isn't contained in the job spec. If the reporting line is contained into the job spec, then you can find the answer there instead of taking that opportunity to ask the question in the room. And you can also ask about, why is it that this role is available? Is it a new role that's been created? And what is the plan they have for that role? How do they see it operating in the context of the whole environment in terms of the responsibilities and the role itself and working with other functions? Or is it an existing role, it's quite established in the business, but the person who was the previous occupant of the role has left? So those are the type of questions that you can ask, even if you are in a team situation, but also you can ask if there is no team, but you are the sole person who's going to be the sole compliance officer for that organization. So that's just some ideas for you to really just understand, how are you going to be working with others? Who will you be working with? How do they work currently? And you will be much more informed as to whether this is the type of team and organization as a whole that you want to be a part of. Okay, so that was question number 3, which had a little, 3A, 3B, 3C, but good for you, you got extra. Question number 4, what are the prospects for growth and increased responsibilities within this team. Now, if you are an ambitious person and you're saying, you know what, I love this role, I want to do this work, but ultimately I see myself being where my manager is in a few years, or where my manager's manager is in a few more years, then you want to understand what the opportunities are for increased growth and responsibility. So asking that question will also help you to understand if the manager, the leader of the team, is the type that supports your growth and is willing to support your study efforts, willing to, give you opportunities to shine and be on projects and take on extra responsibilities and be seconded to a new team for learning opportunity, or the type of the person who's like, you're in this role, get your head down, work on this role, don't ask me questions about your 5-year plan, your 3-year plan. We're talking about this role today. You will get a sense of if this type of manager is that type of manager and is supportive of your ambitions. And it also relates to them that you have a plan for your career. You're not just sitting here saying, a job is a job is a job, and I'm just going to do whatever I can get. But you want to grow, you want to take on more responsibilities. And by you asking that question, that will come across to the employer as well. Okay, so great question to ask about opportunities for growth and development. And then question number 5, what are your expectations for this position within the first 90 days? Typically in an interview situation, they might ask you that question in terms of what are you going to do, or what are your plans for the role if you get into the role for the first 90 days. Now you can either flip that question. If they've asked it to you, you can say, well, you asked me what I would do in the first 90 days of being in this role. I would like to ask and get a better understanding of what your expectations are within the first 90 days. And if they didn't ask you that question, then you can just simply ask the question, I want to understand what your expectations are of the new joiner in the first 90 days. And it's really great to get a clear understanding of your manager. Do they expect you to jump in there and create miracles, and now you're going to remediate the entire AML KYC process in the first 90 days, a problem that they've had for 16 years? You'll be able to understand what the expectations are, and if you can meet those expectations. And if you think those expectations are wildly unrealistic for someone to expect it to land on day one and start creating miracles, then maybe it's a conversation you can have in the interview room about what is achievable and not achievable. Or you will also know that, okay, these guys expect me to do handstands and cartwheels from day one, and that's not how I work. And you can make a decision accordingly. But definitely a great question to know what you will be facing and what the expectation is. And they will also know that actually you want to be clear on what the expectations are, so that you know about what your performance needs to be from day 1 to day 90, and whether it's something that you can actually achieve. So it shows that you also have self-awareness in that regard. Okay, so those are the 5 questions. Number 1, how would you describe the compliance culture of the organization? Number 2, what is your leadership style, assuming you're being interviewed by the hiring manager? Number 3, how would you describe the dynamic and working relationship within the team? Number 4, what are my prospects for growth and development and taking on new responsibilities or additional responsibilities as I grow within the organization? And last but certainly not least, what are your expectations of me within the first 90 days of joining, were I to be the successful candidate? So that's 5 really great questions that you can ask the interviewer. I highly, highly recommend that you ask a question or 2 when given the opportunity. It shows planning, it shows forethought, it shows that, you know what, I'm not just here just for any old thing. I am willing to also do an assessment of what is suitable for me as an individual and for my career aspirations. So make sure that you're answering those questions, and I'm sure that they will be prepared. Impressed that you are prepared with those questions, and that they actually also have to have a think about what the answers to those are. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you find it really, really helpful. If you want to book an interview prep session with me, you can do so by emailing learning@kccompliance.co.za. I will put the email address and information about how to book and all of that in the description so that you can reference it later. And if you book a session with me, it's 60 minutes where we will go through some interview questions, work on your responses to them, and help you feel a lot more confident about walking into an interview situation and presenting yourself in the best possible light, positioning your experience, speaking with as little nerves as possible, less umming and ahhing, and more articulating yourself. We go through all of those so that you are feeling super confident when you walk into that interview. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Until next time, bye.